Hello, everyone, and thanks for listening. Um, I usually don't talk very much about the LGBTQ community as much. I have in past videos. I've discussed my views about LGBTQ, and now with these other letters that are being added to it, how I feel about that community. So I have expressed, my feelings, and I try to be, I this is how I am. I feel like everyone should have opportunities. Um, and I say a lot of things about, I say things about Black people, I say things about gay, lesbian people, I say things about community politics, I say things about white people, things about everybody. So no stone is left unturned. Even as a Black person, I even express the faults of Black people, which there are many, as well as white people. There are many, and there's also LGBTQ community. And so there are also racism that exists in that community as well, believe it or not. People would think, oh, it's just one umbrella. If they're all gay, they're all the same. There's different types of gay people, y'all. There's lesbians who are attracted to women, women attracted to women, and gays, males attracted to males. B is for bisexual. That's people who could at some point be attracted to males and then at some point be attracted to females. So, and then you have T for transgender, and queer is sort of like all in the middle there. It's sort of like a person who they don't really want to place a label on themselves necessarily. So they would feel that they may not even ascribe to being a lesbian. If it's a woman who has an attraction for another woman, she may say at the time, I happen to be attracted to a woman, but now I'm attracted to a male. You could say she's bisexual, or you could say she's lesbian, or you could say that she's genderqueer. Maybe she's not necessarily attracted to, you know uh, the label of the person, as it is more so the label, or more so the person itself. She may say, I'm just attracted to people, you know, and we've heard some people say that, and then that has gotten a lot of flack. So even people within the gay lesbian community say, well, why don't you just come out as lesbian? Why don't you just come out as gay instead of saying you're attracted to people? Or, it's somebody that's running from their, that label. They don't want to be labeled, so what they do is they hide behind maybe the other letters, or maybe they say, oh, I don't have a name to it, I just love people, or whatever. And so you'll have people who, and there's a lot of bashing, there's a lot of hate with this community. People just, there's a lot of hate going on. So I mean, think about it. If you were in any of this, would you want to be labeled? Would you want to be labeled? Some people are saying that, they're proud to be who they are, and they don't, they immerse themselves around people they feel comfortable with, and they don't have a problem by it. And then others find it a struggle because maybe they are not around a big community of people who are supportive, and so they don't feel comfortable saying things or opening themselves up and then it could be dangerous. In some instances, you have people that have gotten killed for admitting, what their feelings are. Just look, I mean, people who, say they voted for certain people get attacked. So you wouldn't think that people, if they decide to say that, I'm a lesbian, or I'm gay, or I'm bisexual, or whatever, they wouldn't be afraid that they would get attacked or be treated a different way on their job, or be denied certain liberties that regular people who don't ascribe to these labels are, also often discriminated against. And so we do have, even within, like we have infighting in cultures of Black culture, infighting in culture, white culture, fighting with Hispanics. Oh, I'm a Mexican American. You're not. you're not a naturalized citizen, or you weren't born here. I'm Mexican, but I did it the right way. You didn't, so there's fighting within our own groups. And even also, yes, lo and behold, in the gay and lesbian community, there is fighting amongst people and racism, believe it or not. Racism does exist. So this right here is saying that there's racism in the gay online dating. And it is. It exists, people. So you have here, in the world of gay online dating, your race affects your romantic and sexual connections. And so it plays a big part as to who is going to be involved or want to be involved with you. So here it states, it says potential partners realize it or not, it can happen. So systems of oppression based on race sometimes pressure queer men of color to lie about and hide their racial identity online when they're on places like Grindr, and in order to get positive romantic sexual attention. So some people won't even answer your ad if you sound a certain way. If your name sounds too ethnic, they don't want to date you. So could this be another case of the white privilege in gay culture? Well, let's take a look. I met a few people who have experienced the problems online dating. One queer man of color I know is half Indian and half Italian with a common Indian name. So in the online dating profile, he uses a common English first name and an Italian surname, and he waits until he meets someone to reveal his real name and racial ethnic identity, because men sometimes stop talking to him. Gay men will stop talking to him when they find out that he's partly Indian. Oh, I see. Okay. It's even in the gay and lesbian community, folks. White privileges, even getting hooked up with someone. All right. Now, other people might say, hey, that's not my problem. I'm not even gay, or I'm not a lesbian, or whatever. Or, but these letters recently have extended. So you got all kind of people who have different sexual preferences. So let's go on to read. It says, another person I know is Black, but he has self-identified as mixed race on Grindr because he gets little attention when he identifies himself as being Black. Let me read that again. He gets little attention when he identifies himself as being Black, and the attention he does receive for identifying as Black isn't favorable. It's frequently unsolicited and racialized. Okay. For instance, one white man asked him, do you want to make a white man your slave? Another white man refused to believe that he was Black, citing his Chinese-looking eyes. There are just a few stories that illustrate the effects of racism within online dating communities, comprisingly mostly gay men. Queer men of color have fewer options in online dating than queer white men do. Oh, by golly, are you stating that they're exercising their white privilege? The one that they claim they don't really have. Okay, we're hearing it here even in the gay communities. Data suggests that these stories are not uncommon or unique. Based on data published, which you guys always love to use. Where's the stats? Where's the statistics? Where's the data? Okay, Trends, a blog produced by OkCupid, white gay men respond more often to OkCupid messages from other white men than they do men of color. They respond to messages from other white men 44% of the time, but respond only 37.3% of the time to men of color. There you have it, folks. Okay. White gay men also respond less frequently to messages in general than gay men of color. On OkCupid, white gay men respond to messages from all races at an average of 41.4%, but gay men of color respond to messages from all races at an average of 49.13%. 0.3%. Ironically, even though white gay men or males respond to messages in general less frequently than gay men of color, they fail to attract the highest rate of responses to messages they send. Middle Eastern gay men, on average, will receive 48 responses every 100 messages they send, while white gay males will receive an average of 45. But in contrast, black gay males only receive about an average of 36. Response rates vary by race, less among lesbian women on OkCupid than gay men. White lesbian women respond to OkCupid messages from other white women 49% of the time, but respond to messages of women of color 47.6% of the time, excluding response rate to Indian women due to small sample. White lesbian women respond to women of color 2.4% less often than to white women, but white gay men respond to men of color 6.7% less often than to white men. This data is illustrating that one's race, ethnicity affects one's romantic sexual value in queer communities. And racism especially harms gay men of color. OkCupid's data sheds light on casual racism in queer online dating communities, but overt racism is also prevalent. Blogs like Douchebags of Grindr, though intensively entitled, point out overtly racist headlines gay men post on their Grindr profiles, such as "No blacks" or "Whites only." Often, white men attempt to minimize the social harm of their overt racism by claiming their comments are merely preferences. Okay? It's just a preference. It's not white privilege. But these so-called preferences cause significant harm in this community. They can cause some queer men of color to feel undesirable, which in turn can pressure some queer men of color to lie about their racial, ethnical identity and their background in order to attract some type of a form of attention. It is also troubling to see racial hierarchies. Wait a minute. You mean racial hierarchies? So would that mean white privilege, which white people will deny and say it doesn't exist? Racial hierarchies right there. Re-identifying this whole thing, it's in online queer dating, okay? Spaces, because queer people should know better. Queerness does not give whites a pass to be openly racist, okay? But it does for some. Most queer whites know the pain of social marginalization, yet they marginalize queer people of color in online dating communities. It is mimicked in the gay world, people. I want to live in a pluralist world where whiteness holds the same value as all other races and ethnicities and culture. Okay. Amalgams. Okay. Okay, so it is unclear whether OK Trends includes bisexual men calculating responses rates. OK Trends also did not report the data on transgender individuals. So those were left out, or they weren't as, identified in this article here. So this article is entitled Wonky Wednesday, and it's National LGBTQ Task Force, BU, okay? And yeah, so it happens in the gay world, people, believe it or not. People don't realize that. That's why I had said that all gay people aren't the same. Hell, some of them don't even like the same things. Some are conservatives, some are Democrats, some are not even there. Some are religious and some are not religious. They're gay religious people. Yeah, some people don't even realize that. They got gay churches. gay churches specifically for people who are in the queer community so they can feel safe and identify who they really are. But in the dating world, that doesn't change. There is racism in the gay community and lesbian community as well. It's there. It's there. Some of the same hierarchies that people deal with in the straight world deal with it in the gay world. So I just thought I would bring that out there. So those of you people who think that it doesn't exist, it exists. Okay. And so I've read up on it. Yeah, I've gone to meetings. Yes, I have. I've gone to meetings. I've met with other gay people, and they too have expressed some of the things that they have experienced. And I will tell you about it. I actually feel more comfortable being around women, because, you know, it's a different feeling when you're around gay men. There's some gay men that are comfortable to be around, and then there are others that they kind of have this little thing going where they're not really that crazy about women, you know. And so you'll have some of the YouTube posts on there with these men spouting all this hate towards women. And the reason is because some of them can't admit that they're gay. So that's where you get some of that negative aggression from. Some of it is coming from there, believe it or not. And then there's others who are comfortable around everybody. Doesn't matter. They can be a gay man, they can be a lesbian woman, they come around everybody. There's no problem. And it's cool. It's just other people have treated them poor pissed. So they express some of the feelings, some of the things that have happened within their communities, not being able to get dates, not be able to go in certain places. And then I've also even read a documentary or history, or actually witnessed a documentary about all the clubs that used to be, that all the lesbian clubs are like disappearing. And that primarily the clubs that are popping up, there's also this thing, a high gay male clubs more so than there are lesbian clubs. You have to search far and wide to find clubs there where they're just women. Now that they're starting to, we're starting to see there are places where it's what you call unisex, where you have a gay like the Abbey in Hollywood area, West Hollywood, where there's gay men and there's lesbian women and stuff, and then it's like a free for all sort of thing, like everybody, not free for all in a negative sense. What I'm saying is it's open to the public. Straight people can go in there too, to have fun, watch the shows, because sometimes people, just because a person that is going into a gay club doesn't mean everybody's gay. Some people like the shows. They like to go to the shows, or maybe they have a family member that's gay and they go, or they don't have homophobic problems. They're not scared of being around gay people, so, they don't feel like it's a disease that'll rub off on them. So they're open about, they go to the club, go to a place, where people hang out, they feel secure about their sexuality, as being a straight person. And then they don't feel like, oh, now I want to be gay. No, it doesn't happen like that. You have to be attracted to somebody. And if that was already there, and so that brings up the question, for some people, that's the reason why they have the queue and all this other stuff, because somebody might not necessarily, maybe that's not their thing. They are not attracted to the same sex. They want the opposite sex. I mean, they don't mind. They know the culture, the music and everything. They have some family members, or maybe they're not afraid of it. It doesn't scare them off. So I'm one of those people. I've read about it. I have friends and whatnot. And I feel like I'm like how would you say, I'm an open-minded. I try to be open-minded at least. And I feel too that I'm a part of this community. I have to be honest with you. So some people will probably not like me saying this, but I feel that as though I'm more honest about who I am. I'm a part of this community. I don't necessarily would label myself either. But I feel like I know a lot about this. Now, I'm not stupid and I'm not crazy. I know there's a lot of lying too. Now, what I have noticed is there's a lot of people who pretend. Now, there's a benefit with being, you know, for some people in this community, there's a benefit. Some people will pretend to be, gay or whatever, and they figure their benefit, and it could be in bad ways. Now, what I have noticed is that what I was going to get into that in the lesbian world, there are some women who will try to use other women. If she's doing good, she has got a good career, she's got a good job, she's doing well for herself. And then you've got this other woman who maybe she's not doing that well. She's not, she's just looking for somebody to feed off of. She's the parasite. And so she comes into this woman's life and pretty much wrecks it. And so there's some people you got to be careful. Just because you're in that community doesn't mean everything is safe. And so the same things you got to worry about as a straight person. Like this guy comes in my life and he'll wreck my life. He's cheating. He's doing all this stuff. It can happen in the gay world, lesbian world. Same thing. A person can come into your life and wreck it. Now, maybe their whole priority is this, I'm just going to use this woman. I'm just going to, she's got the money, she's got the job, she's got the brains. She's going to come in and use her up. And then she bounces and goes to the next person. And so that is going on. I've seen that going on. I've heard of it where, some people will, they maybe that person is, a lesbian or whatever, but she's out to use people. There's some that are out to use. Now, I'm not saying everybody does that, but there's some that use it as an advantage. So I'm gonna move in on this chick, see what she's got going on, and then next thing you know, they bounce. Now they're with the next one. So some people do it. Just because you're in that community doesn't mean everything is safe. So there's racism. There's also sneaky people in that community too, who's there just trying to get in where they fit in. And so there's stuff that goes on in every group. There's something. Now, this is not to label all gays, all lesbians like that. Now, there are people who are very liberal minded, very open minded, and very accepting of one another. And no matter what you title or don't entitle yourself, they're they're kind to you or whatever, or they're not. There's no hidden agenda where they're trying to move in on you and use you up, and then dump you and then move on to the next person. So it doesn't always happen like that for everyone. Some people end up in good, genuine relationships, but this can happen in all facets of life. And so this is the reason why I did this article, because I think that people think that all gay people are friends because they're in that umbrella. They lump them just like they do. Well, all black people are friends. All black people do the same thing. All black people are violent. They lump everybody. One person does something, a couple of people do something, everybody did it. All Mexicans, they're all criminals. They're all there. They're all, undocumented. And that's not true. That's not true. All white people are race haters. Now, what we have learned, I will say this, that there's some people that are, there's white supremacists. There's some people who are radical, on the radical side, same as blacks. There's some people who are more radical. And then there's others who they're closet racist. They don't want to show you how racist they are until they get around their white friends. Now they can be at all the racism comes out. They can make all the nigger jokes, make all the jokes about, black folks. But when they're at their job working with black people, they love black people. They're your friends. I have black friends. We've heard that, haven't we, black people? I have black friends. I work with black people. I got a black neighbor. We've heard that. And same thing. I have gay friends. I don't hate gay people. But as soon as you're around all the people who don't like gay people, you hate gays and all this, treat everybody like they're the same. Do you know, even within the gay community, there's racism. Even within the gay community, there's discrimination. There's such will discriminate poor gays. It happens. Economic level. It happens. So the same stuff that happens in the straight world happens in the gay world, in the queer world, so to speak. So I'm just saying people don't realize that, but that they don't like gays and lesbians, and they got a grandma. Same thing, just like white people hide that there's black people in their family. They don't want to, or there's some black person in their family that they didn't look up and it happens to be there. Same thing. Black people, they got gay people in their family they won't tell you about, you know. Oh, he's just different. She's just different. Oh, she just didn't want to get married. But she has a boarder that's been living with her for years. They're just really good friends, but they're lesbian, stuff like that, things like that. Or, they go to church, and you black people have gone to church, the ones that do, and they know when they are around gay people, you know it. Oh, he's just different. He just sings well. He's just different. They use you for your talents. But then when you start talking about stuff they don't want to hear, they deny it straight up and down. There's no black gay people. And then if there are black gay people, they're discriminated to death. Straight black people discriminated to death. And so then you have the Umar Johnsons and all these people on there talking about how much, and this is a telltale sign. You can go all your life knowing that gay people exist and not be affected by it. So what? They make a law. So what? Treat gay people fair. Okay? If you're not gay, you're not gay. You don't have to sleep with gay people. You don't have to sleep with them, But I would bet that most people have come across somebody who's bisexual just because they didn't tell you and you didn't know it doesn't mean that they aren't. So this is the thing. Stop it. Stop it. It happens. It happens. This right here, you see in this. There are a bunch of articles out there like this with statistics, with facts and everything. All this stuff that people want to say, well, where's your statistics? Where's your facts? Where's your proof? And all that kind of stuff. There are stories, even in history, of gay people who were black and who they'd only go to see them in Harlem during the Renaissance and during these plays and these shows and all that. And then they go behind closed doors and have sex with them and stuff. And you wouldn't hear about it until later. You find out that certain people were friends, longtime friends, but back then it was forbidden. You couldn't talk about this stuff. And so now all this stuff is coming out. And so you have all your racists and all your gay haters and lesbian haters come out and post all this stuff about how they hate gay people because they don't want you to know that they too have thought about sleeping with people of the same background, the same gender. They don't want that to come out. So we can't let this come out. You people, we're going to be black supremacists and we're going to talk about all the black issues, but we got to throw all the gay and lesbian issues in there. You know why? Because we don't want this group to get certain privileges because of being gay. And when all the time we've been fighting with white people about their privilege, which white people deny having white privilege, which it does exist. Black people have been denied many privileges. They have to only be in their own corner of the globe. Okay? And so, we got black people on here who are gay, who are complaining that they can't get a date because of being black. People who are not black, they're Indian, they're all these other races, all these other, from these other groups, they're people of color, and they can't get dates. Why? Because of white privilege. You don't have a white sounding name, you don't look white, you aren't white. So we want white gay men want to date white gay men. That's what we're seeing on this article. They answer to white gay men's ads quicker than they will men who aren't white. And the lesbian, the same thing. The same thing. And so now we're seeing that all these privileges, all these things do exist. They exist. So that's why I said it's bullshit when people get on here and say, "Oh, that's not true. That's not true," because they're denying it. Because two, you have some of them. What do you call that when you have men that they want to have two women or they want to have two men and a woman? What is that? Well, there's no label on it. It's just they're swingers. Swingers? Well, what do swingers do? They swap wives, swap people, swaps. Doesn't matter what gender. They're all in. You have a bunch of men. They can be openly naked in front of you. They don't feel uncomfortable about that. It's possible that they may be bisexual, isn't it? But we didn't call ourselves that. So we don't have that jacket, that umbrella of hate on us. So this is the kind of stuff that people won't talk about. See, it's uncomfortable for them. They won't talk about it, but men like to see two women have sex together and they get excited by that. But they won't talk about that either. But we wanna fight against these gay people because they might take our rights. Okay, so it happens on every level. I'm just saying. And I don't think people want to talk about it because they don't want to admit the truth. That's the reason why. They don't want to admit the truth, that the truth is that people are going to do people stuff, and every walk of life, these such things as privileges or rights, people are in fear of losing. If they find that it's attacked, they attack back. And so anything that makes them feel threatened, that they're going to lose certain opportunities, certain rights, certain liberties that they feel are theirs, then they attack back. And so that's why you see this. And so this is the thing. The thing we're supposed to be working towards is equality, right? It's not equal. It never has been. And, we have made slow improvements, but those improvements are far and few compared to what we're dealing with today. And so this right here, I just thought this article was an important thing to bring up because I know some people don't want to talk about this. They shy away from it, or they hate when you say the word gay. They hate already. They're discriminating. Gay. I don't want to hear anything about gay. They already, yeah, I hate gay people, whatever. But what, they got a gay person in their family they don't talk to, or they don't admit that they're gay, or they maybe they know somebody, they watch them on TV, but they don't see the gay. They just see, oh, Ellen DeGeneres, she's so funny. She's so funny. I like watching her show. And then, but then when it's black people talking about gay stuff, I hate gays. But it's the black person watching Ellen's show. They love Ellen. Ellen is so funny, girl. She's so funny. As long as she's not black and as long as it doesn't affect you, right? So, so it happens. I'm just saying. So here, this is one of many articles that I found interesting. So I just thought I would bring that up. Also, even among the gender wars is real. There's no such thing as gender wars. Yes, the hell it is. Men get paid more than women. That's why you have this Me Too stuff going on too, because women, when they talk about being sexually abused, at one time it was swept under the rug or it was passed off. It's like, oh, what did you wear? What did you say to him to make him do that? So you don't think that even in the gay community, when we have more gay clubs and more men that are, doing all this stuff to change themselves, and, and there's a lot of clubs for them. It's like a right, but when there's lesbian women, they're shunned. Oh, the sexual deviants, all this kind of stuff. Like, but it's not deviant when a man is watching two women together. but it is when they don't want us to watch. It's deviant, sexual deviance. Stuff like that. See, people do what they want to do as long as it fits their persona, you know. And, and if it's out of there, if they can't have a hand in it, then oh, something's wrong with it. Something's wrong with it. You know, it's okay on the one end, but bad on the other. You know, something's wrong with it. You know, so people are not really honest. They're not really honest about who they are, and I don't really want to. I don't want to say what my personal interests are because I don't feel that I have to express that. You know, I feel that's my right. You know, if I'm getting in a relationship with somebody, then I can tell them what I like, my likes and dislikes, or whatever, what I agree on or disagree on. Like now, they have this site on where you can date people, and it's a Trump dating site. And the Trump dating site found that there was a guy on there that he likes to date people underage. And there's a lot of discrepancy on that. They posted his face up there. And so you got people who will date people based on political ideologies and beliefs. And so, yeah, this it exists in many facets. So if there's racism in the gay online dating, there's racism in other areas. So I just thought that I would put that out there, and I am out.